Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fair Life with Andrew McKee. I am Andrew McKee, and here we are. I obviously, of course, have power. If I don't, I'm really prepared. And if you're watching, I'm sure you probably have power too, or again, are really prepared. It's one of those things where it seems like it hasn't been too many power problems from what I've been able to find out, but a few small ones all over the place. So, neighborhoods go down occasionally because of a falling tree or a wreck or just ice on lines causing problems. It happens, but it seems like it's not as bad as it has been in the past. So here's hoping that all of you are safe and doing okay. But yeah, hi, and wow, hi, Kathy and Janine and Jan and Lisa and Dan. Yeah, excellent. Wow, and 15 below last night in Colorado, according to Janine. Wow, okay, that's I will. No, I'm too much of a Southerner to handle that. I'm going to be honest. I'll leave that to you. I'm sure you're sure you're ready for it. And Sari, hey, whew. Oh, it's been a lot of time digging, huh? Yeah, that is. When you get the heavy snow, that's one of those, I call it one of those Yankee pastimes. One of those things you do in the North that it is, yeah, digging yourself out with the snow. I honestly have rarely had to deal with that. I've been very lucky in that regard, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. But always, usually in the winter months, I'm very far south, so don't have to deal with much snow. Couldn't agree more with you, Jan. But of course, we're way down here in Texas, so I'm sure it's one of those things where you get used to the world you're in, and that's kind of it. I'm sure it's one of those things where over time, hey, it's not a problem. Wow. And okay, Lisa, you're in that kind of boat too. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where it was below zero. No, I think I've managed to avoid that all my life. I've never had that situation. And by below zero, I mean below 0 Fahrenheit. Celsius is another world. But yeah, I don't think I ever have. I've come close. There were a few times being up north where in Colorado and New York where it got down pretty low, but not quite that low. So I guess I've been lucky. And you're in Texas? Well, that must be, yeah. That Texas is a big state, so when you get into the North Texas area, you get some of that. Yeah, again, you get used to it. And once you're used to it, you can make it work. I am fine not being used to it. I'm not going to lie. I've lived my life avoiding that, and it would take probably a good 5 years for me to start to get used to it. And at this point, I'll avoid it if I can. Right? Yeah, that's where I've experienced near zero temperatures before, and on Long Island back many years ago, and it was snow everywhere. And oh man, I had somebody driving me around. I think it was Lenny. He was driving me around and just driving full speed through all this ice and snow, and I'm kind of like saying, "Oh my, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'm so not." You get that experience and you're comfortable with it. Right, and you get the opposite effect where people from the north come down to the south and it's so hot, it is overwhelming. So it can be a rough one. It can be a rough one. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. -50? Wow. Okay. Yeah, yeah. No. And when I was a kid, I probably I probably would have jumped into that and been interested in the experience. But now I guess I'm a little set in my ways. Maybe that's a bad thing. I'll have to examine that. The best place to see armadillos? should I not say on the roadways? Is that too cruel? Because, yeah, that's where you see most of them. Usually trying to cross, and you try to avoid them so you don't hit them with your car. That's where I've seen most of the armadillos for me. But all over. I've never known a place in Texas that didn't have armadillos, to be honest. I mean, you'll often see them in residential areas too, just trying to find places to be. Yeah, all over the place. It's very common, very, very common. Ooh, 6.4 inches. Ooh, that's, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Good luck. Yeah, be strong. Wow. Yeah, I've developed a long-standing strategy of, in the winter, I come as far south as I possibly can. And in the summer, I go as far north as I possibly can, so that I've learned from the birds. Migrate. Migration is your is an ally. So I try to do that with the weather. And luckily, since I travel and I make my own schedule, I can do that. It's not always perfect, but I do try. Yeah, the last few years doing the North Dakota Fair was really nice, but now I'm not sure if they're having it. So, and I may not be doing that again. But boy, North Dakota in late June was it was wonderful. They'd sometimes complain that it would occasionally hit 80 degrees for a brief span of time, and I'd laugh at them because it was like 106 in Austin at that point. So yeah, still got to the 50s at night in late June. Oh, so nice. Mm. Well, hey, there are worse nicknames, so I'll take it. And right, yeah, they've canceled a lot of school and all of that. You may have noticed they also canceled a lot of the fairs for last weekend, and that is okay. The one I've been going at, the Fair of Champions, canceled, and I will give them lots of credit. They they canceled the last weekend, last Wednesday. So they did it fairly early and gave everybody a chance to make different plans and take care of it. They didn't wait till the last minute. So I compliment them on that. Some fairs will wait until Thursday or even Friday, which is a lot of people are already on the road by that point. So I'll give them a lot of credit for doing that. Well, yeah, nobody claimed that all birds were intelligent. That is true. Now that is a valid point. Yeah, I mean, you get that. It's it makes a difference. It makes a difference. But once again, it depends on where you are. Some places don't, especially in the South, don't have many changes in elevation. It's very flat because back in ancient history, of course, as you know, a lot of it was underwater. So you don't have those mountains and stuff. Yeah, so you don't always have the option. But if you do, it can make a nice change. Migratory bard. I like that. Okay. I think that might have to be a business card edition. I'm not going to lie. Migratory bard. I like it. Well, the other good news, aside from me having power and not freezing, is that I think I've solved the whole picture thing. I really am liking the picture on video now, the camera and my new interface that I got after the problems I had before with a really weak picture. I ordered the new interface and I've been tweaking it, and I think this is looking pretty good. It's looking very good to me. So yeah, this is better than, well, I'll be honest, better than a lot of video I've seen people use. So I'll take it. And I think the sound is pretty good. I'm going to go back and give a quick listen and do some last tweaks of the filters I have on there, but I think we're pretty good. And the old one I repaired, so it's a solid backup. It still looked good. It just needed a new cable. But this one is even better. It will do full 4K video and quality at 60 frames per second. So you can't really complain about that. Yeah. So I will hopefully well, I've got it licked and I've got backups, so that's always nice. Camera, yeah, I need to come up with a good camera backup that looks halfway decent, because the other one, I I tried that and it did not work well. So I need to work on that. That's my next step. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. Right? Yeah, it does have some good Irish folk music in there. I totally agree, Dan. So, very interesting film. That's an interesting dynamic. I like that. Okay. Huh. Okay. Well, okay. Good to hear that that's is looking good. I think YouTube, of course, is always going to have the best video quality. I also, it's a very low bit rate. I'm using a very advanced codec on YouTube, and it is uh, software encoding, not hardware, and really using my computer to the fullest. I've really optimized all the settings, but it still looks great. So I'm very happy about that. I think that's solid, and it will give me some flexibility on the road if I need it. If I have a weaker connection, I can still use it. The YouTube web interface keeps complaining, saying your bitrate is too low, your bitrate is too low. If you want to change it, do something. But it still takes it, and it just doesn't know what to do with something that optimized. But it still looks pristine to me, or pretty close. Mainly because I'm not doing heavy motion or anything. So yeah. Oh, hey Kurt, thanks for joining. No worries. We're still just talking. It's yeah about us not being buried in snow, or hopefully digging ourselves out of being buried in snow. But yeah, I also noticed that there were a few dropped frames last show, and I think part of that was I forgot to bring uh, my setup for directly for wired networking to go into the router that way. So I'm doing wireless, which is always a little buggy with video streaming. You want to be wired if you can, just for anybody who thinks about that kind of thing, always plug in directly. But since I've got a laptop, I have a different interface for doing wired, and I left it. So, but right now I don't have any drop frames, or very few. So I think we might be okay. I might have fixed some of that, but yeah, I'll definitely be bringing that from now on. But otherwise, pretty good setup. I'm happy with it. And yeah, I am looking forward to the fair this coming up weekend. It's going to be the last weekend at Fair of Champions. So, and then after that, it's going to be interesting, because right after I'm heading to Alabama for a few weeks. And then at the end of February, boom, I'm going to be in Texas again for 2 months of Sherwood Forest Fair. So I'll be there doing that, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I get to see a lot of people I know and hang out, and already working on some of the dance music for the cast. They've talked to me in the last few days, and we've gone over some new dances they want to do, and I'm writing a melody for one of them. So I'm doing my best. Going to be doing my best version of my own medieval cantiga. Like you do. So we'll be doing that, and maybe I'll get to play that in the next few weeks on here for you. I'll try to get that together, but it should be fun. Definitely. Right, you're not wrong. Luckily, it looks like the temperature is getting warmer in the next couple of days, so things are going to start looking up, at least in this area. And hey, Harvey. So yeah, well, here's hoping. Here's hoping that works out. I think so. But yeah, no, I was thinking about all the different problems that fairs go through, and how they often have to shut down or close for one of their weekends for various reasons. It's yeah, it can be a lot of different things. yeah, I went ahead and put together a 7 reasons, believe it or not, for 7 reasons you know the fair should close for the weekend. So here we go. I guess let's jump into that. I usually save 7 reasons till later, but let's just jump in. Why not? Because yeah, it's that kind of year. Let's just roll with it, I think. So 7 reasons you know the fair should close for the weekend. And this is just based on my experience, mostly, but number 7, number 7, over 110 degrees in summer. Because yeah, the first year of a fair several years ago in Oklahoma, and fairs, when they go in the summer, they don't always make first years are always rough. You're going to make mistakes. Every fair does it. Doesn't matter who you are, you're going to make mistakes. Sometimes it's scheduling, sometimes it's tickets, sometimes it's location, there's always problems. And because of that, fairs will often change locations or even dates going in the first few years. It happens regularly. But this one was, it was over 110 degrees in the shade for one of the days. And because they decided to do a fair in July in Oklahoma. It was even unnaturally hot for there, but it was very rough. It was the only time I've ever had heat exhaustion at a fair before. Very tough. And after that, the next year, they moved it. It was not in July anymore. They learned from that mistake. But if that had been the forecast, fairs really should go ahead and say no, because a lot of people went down during the day. For me, I made it through the day, but I was down at the end. Yeah, it was rough. People aren't used to that. So you really have to take care of it. Yeah, right. That's rough. That's kind of, you're just asking for trouble. And it health-wise, it's a bad idea. So I think that was one that jumped in my head of that's a good reason to close the fair for the weekend. If the temperatures get that hot, you're starting to get, Mojave Desert, Death Valley bad hot. And that's not a good look. It's not a good look for fair. No, especially with the garb. Ugh. Yeah, no. So number 6, can't pay employees. Sometimes there have been instances where fairs, some that I've even been involved with, where they weren't able to pay their employees, their entertainers, their workers, cast, whatever, because something didn't align. Even fairs that have been established for a while, sometimes the way they set up the math for money it's a bit of a house of cards. And if something seriously goes wrong somewhere, it affects everything. And when that happens and they can't pay anybody, it really destroys their reputation. Most fairs do not come back from that. When it happens, yeah, it takes a huge act of contrition and a lot of over-the-top negotiating to get past it. I've seen fairs do it. One fair, for instance, the next year they set it up where they paid all the performers day to day. Like, it's the end of Saturday, we're paying you for Saturday. Sunday, we're paying you for Sunday in cash, in your hand at the end of each day. And that was their way of saying, we got you. That was a glitch. It was a problem. We've taken care of it. And it worked. That fair carried on for a good long while after that, but it takes an act like that. So that's a rough one. It really is. Okay, so Harvey, yeah, you've seen that 115 degree temperature. Yeah, it happens. And it's not all the time, it's not common, but it does happen. And yeah, you got to be prepared for it. I totally agree. Okay, number 5. And this is another one I can relate to. Very rare, but travel stoppage emergency. Every once in a while, you'll have a local problem like you get the escaped convict kind of thing, or for more of a local or regional issue. Some serious disaster, or sometimes you get a national issue. The one that popped into my head immediately that I was a part of was, of course, 9/11. Now, 9/11, that was on a that was on a Tuesday. I remember it well because that Monday I flew back from Kansas City Ren Fair and flew back to Austin. Went to sleep that night. Woke up the next morning. The world had changed, and no flights, nothing going on. Everything was closed. It was crazy. I took one of the first flights out on that Friday to go back to Kansas City for the fair that weekend, and it was one of the oddest fairs I've ever performed at because nobody knew how to be funny. Nobody knew how to take anything. It was really interesting. But some fairs closed. They didn't open that weekend. Some events did, and I get it because it was really close. You had to make a decision before that Friday. They planned to open stuff, but nobody was really sure. So some played it safe, some took the risk, and I get it. You have something like that where people can't get to you, smarter to close. So I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, generally you don't, and that's why the fair's closed, because when they do that, people won't work for you, and that's what I meant. You have to really go above and beyond to even have a shot of making up for that if you're a fair owner. I mean, it takes a huge act, and people have to believe you that it was an honest mistake. It was a problem that was partly maybe a mistake that you made, but a little beyond your control, something you've made sure it will never happen again. I mean, you have to sell it. People have to believe you, and then you go above and beyond. So I get it. Yeah, and I'm with you there. That's the whole, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, sometimes you get those natural disasters. If they shut down everything around you, you can't get to it. So it makes sense to shut it down. And honestly, it's for people's safety, because people trying to get there, it causes more harm than good. So yeah, never easy, never easy. Number 4, this one I just had to add because I learned that when it comes to every top list of natural disasters you have to be prepared for, you have to put this on now. For the last decade and a half, this is every list. So here you go. Zombie apocalypse. I mean, governments have actual plans of what to do in the event of a zombie apocalypse. I know, but it's become that mainstream. So if it happens, but I'm going to tell you something. I disagree with closing a fair during a zombie apocalypse, because in a zombie apocalypse, going to a place where people know how to use swords, how to defend a small location against an onslaught of an army, and know how to grow their own food and survive out in the wilderness for long periods of time in any type of weather or environment, that's a great place to go. I mean, in a zombie apocalypse, a Ren Fair is like an oasis. So yeah, if anything ever like that happens, go to a Ren Fair. I'm serious. They'll take care of you. So yeah, oh yeah, I'm really surprised they never did that on Walking Dead or something like that. Just, the Ren Fair group that defeated hordes of zombies. I mean, because they would have done it. Totally. Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think some of them probably would have enjoyed it. Let's just be honest. I finally get to do this right, and yeah, it would have been interesting, very interesting. uh, oh wow, yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you're predicting a tsunami in Colorado, the West Coast, just say goodbye. Right, I know. California's gone. Yeah. I totally get that. Okay, number three, political pressure, right? Because sometimes you get, with a Ren Fair, normally fairs are not in the big cities. They're not in the big wealthy counties or all that. They're in the more rural and smaller, not so wealthy counties. And you have to have a good working relationship with the county seat. I mean, because if you don't, they can make your life miserable. And you'd think that, hey, this brings in income, this brings in tourism, this is a good thing, they should love a Ren Fair. And sometimes they do. They don't always, because it causes a lot of problems too. It strains infrastructure, it strains police forces, and just not, if it was all year, okay, but it's just for a few weeks. So it can be a headache. And I see both sides of it. So yeah, sometimes you get political pressure to shut down, and permits aren't issued. You're not up to code with your wiring. They do inspections and shut you down, and you don't really have a choice. So I've seen it happen at different fairs. It's not a common occurrence, but it does happen. They can make life difficult for a fair. So yeah, I've seen it. It's just something to be aware of, and I don't think every fair owner quite appreciates how necessary it is. Yeah, right? Oh, I'm stealing that. That's a good one, Lisa. Yeah, that's good. And yeah, I know. Yeah, number 3, that happens. So yeah. Number 2, and this one is, of course, that. Oh wow, it's going to be joke day for 7 reasons. I like this. This is good. They're funny though, so I no complaints. Number 2 is one that you recognize fairly recently, and honestly, before I wouldn't have really put it on the list, but after going through it, you kind of have to, and that's of course pandemic. That's the whole COVID thing changed a lot of people's view of what disease can do to events and everything. So yeah, a lot of fairs, of course, closed, and some closed permanently because of it. So yeah, it is definitely, luckily not as many as I was afraid of. Not many of the big ones shut down, and not as many small ones, but it did happen. Luckily, there was at least enough warning that most kind of figured it out. And number 1 is, of course, the obvious, because we're going through it. Rain, freezing rain, ice, snow, especially in the South, because we really don't know what to do with it. We are not prepared infrastructure-wise. But it can also be, any type of weather phenomenon, whether it's storms or tsunamis, hurricanes, whatever. I mean, pretty much any weather-related thing can be a huge factor. And especially with coastal fairs, sometimes you get those hurricane warnings that will shut down a Ren Fair, or any event for the weekend. So yeah, it is definitely a factor, something to concern yourself with. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely when you have when you work from home. That pandemic is it's a good time for people like that, or when you go out in the field alone, or with your own pod, where you just have your own group that you're always together and never apart. And if you're healthy for a while at the beginning, then you're good. That's otherwise it's rough. Yeah, I remember that, Jan. That is a good example. But yeah, any weather type of thing can do it. And these days, you never know. You never know. I mean, they try. Sites, they try to be on higher ground. They try to be not too close to the coast because of hurricanes, or maybe in a time of year where you don't have to worry about that. I mean, it factors in, but not everybody thinks about it right, because there's so many different possibilities, from tornadoes to just really bad rainstorms. They can happen anywhere. So yeah, you never know. And right, you're not wrong. Fire is another. I didn't really put that in there because that would have been a long list of natural disasters. But you're right. That happens sometimes too. You have some of those brush fires that happen and can cause issues. Sometimes at the fair, that's happened before, and can cause a shutdown because, yeah, it is. Those disasters can be rough. But anyway, that was my list of 7 reasons it's a good idea to shut Faire down. Oh, and it's already 7:30. Man, this was a long 7 reasons. I'm glad I did this earlier. I probably wouldn't have tackled it. So yeah, it was definitely better. Let's jump over to the Faire map over here. You'll notice, again, not too many fairs. A few new ones are cropping up that are a few that are going to be the long haul fairs coming up for heading into the winter to spring route. Others are finishing up those January fairs. So yeah, it is interesting, and a very interesting pirate festival. So let's go ahead and jump in and break out the little pointer. I love the pointer. Gotta love the pointer. Okay, starting first, we have the Gasparilla Pirate Fest, and this is in Tampa, Florida. Now, this is an interesting one. It's one day only on Saturday, January 31st. But normally when you talk about Ren fairs, you don't really go back very far. At the earliest are in the 60s in California. But this Pirate Fest, it started with a pirate parade back in 1904. And they've been doing events with just a few cancellations during, world wars and COVID, but otherwise every year. And they have a parade, they have a festival, they have many decades ago they started a pirate group that sailed a old pirate ship in the harbor. It's really, they go pretty crazy with it. It is definitely a city and area event, and very old. It's kind of a big deal. It's the 3rd largest parade in the country. So we're not talking about something small here. But you may not have heard of it because it is more a regional type of thing. So something to check out if you like that kind of thing. Definitely not something to ignore if you're in the area. But it's also finishing up nearby. The Pinellas Medieval Fair is the 2nd weekend of that going on in Largo, Florida. So yeah, that's also going on. So I guess theoretically you could do both. Do the Pirate Fest on Saturday and then do the Medieval Fair on Sunday. That would be interesting. But again, not very far certainly by Texas standards, right next to each other. Then you jump over and you have Acadiana Ren Fair. This is in Villa Platte, Louisiana. And it's the 4th out of 5 weekend. So it is still have 2 more weekends to go. But yeah, it's mostly January and early February. Then you jump over to Fair of Champions, and it is in Palestine, Texas, and it's going to be its last weekend. So something I'm looking forward to it. It's a fun place. They've really, it's a very relaxed, fun, camping friendly and camping first atmosphere. It's like a camping event, and they also have a fair. So it's not a fair that also has camping. It's all about the camping and events that go on at night around the campfire. They really, if you like camping, this is a fair for you. Then jumping over again in Texas, you have the Kerrville Ren Fair, and in Kerrville, Texas, and this is its last weekend as well. So weekend 3 out of 3. Then you opened up a couple of new fairs going on. And this is, first you have the Arizona Renaissance Festival. And this is in Apache Junction, Arizona. And this is the 1st out of 9 weekends. And their first weekend, I think, is themed Norse adventures. So again, cold weather, totally get it. Of course, cold for Arizona, keep in mind. It might be a little chilly. Then jumping down to Yuma, Arizona, you have the Two Rivers Renaissance Fair. This is just the one weekend only. And yeah, I was thinking about it and I realized, I was there the first year they opened. So yeah, it's a lovely fair and just right on the border with California and Mexico, really close over there in Yuma. And lovely site, and they've done a good job with it. I mean, it's been around since 2008. So yeah, and that's all we have. And you'll notice that the fairs all as far south as possible at the end of January, early February, because this is the time you normally get the cold fronts coming through that are pretty strong, and you get the snow. So taking it as far south as you can is the way to go. And that's what they've done. So very smart on their part, I think. Definitely. Woohoo! So yes. And back we come. Yes, and I know what you're talking about with the fire at TRF a few years ago. Yeah, that was right before the season started. You're right. That wasn't during it, but they opened. But it could have gone the other way if it had happened during the week. I don't think it would have. Okay. But yeah, so I guess that is all. It's already, gosh, 7:38. Yeah, if we talk weather, we lose 30 minutes very quickly because there's so much going on. But I'm glad all of you are safe. Do take care of yourselves. It looks like the bad winter weather is starting to get behind us. Here's hoping that continues and that we're okay. Yeah, that do stay warm, and yeah, hopefully there's good weather ahead of us. And as always, hopefully good fairs ahead of us. So remember, take care, have a good time, a good week, a good weekend, a good month, and as always, a fair life. I'll see you next Monday. I should be back in Alabama for that one, so different location and hopefully even a better internet connection. But so far, yeah, this one looked good. So I think we got most of the bugs worked out. So thanks for that. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.